Guys, welcome to the Killing the Tea podcast. This is Gare,
And Kate.
and we are going to be discussing all things chills, thrills, and kills. Kate and I are going to be talking about our favorite books, TV shows, and movies that are in the thriller or crime fiction genre, as well as some reading habits and other items related to how we met on Bookstagram that will fit in with this podcast. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you have fun and get totally terrified. Oh my God. Okay. Your icebreaker.
Yes.
I'm
We were
so
talking about
pumped.
I know. Books we're reading this winter. That was kind of where that
Yeah.
was coming from. And in one of them, there's a character who is given a title and they're told to write a whole you have to write a whole film just based off this title that we tested with people, and people like this title. So just like write a movie about it with like zero context.
Mhm.
So I thought it would be fun if we both came up with titles and then each other tried to come up with the synopsis of said title.
Yeah. I'm game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you want to say your title first or get your title first?
Whatever you want, because this is such a genius idea. Like I'm just
Okay.
rolling with the punches, and like this
Okay.
is this is your show. Like I'm
Okay.
just a fan.
You just showed up.
You're the housewife on stage at BravoCon, and I'm like the
Yes.
audience like giving a
Oh
question.
yeah,
Like I
that's
just
a
have
good
like
reference right now.
this is my mic moment. Like I hello.
That is a really good comparison. Okay, I'll tell you the title I came up with then.
Okay.
My title for you is The Means.
Ooh. Ooh, okay. So now, do I come up with like what first comes to mind, or do
Yeah,
I come up with like what I think you would imagine this is about?
I guess we could go either way, but I have which one should we do?
Do you have like an idea of what it's about?
Not really. I didn't think too much about what it was about.
Okay. So mine would be like a dark academia
Mm.
about like kind of taking a thriller into like Mean Girl style. And like instead of calling
Mm.
them the Mean Girls, you would call them like the Means, because like everybody would just be like, oh my God, they're so
Nice.
mean. Those are the means. Like stay away from them. They're mean, 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 mean. And I would
Ooh.
have like some sort of like thriller about like one of them doing something
Mm-hmm.
and having like kind of like an A character
Mm-hmm.
like harassing them or like sending them text messages, emails, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would be like, okay, is this person harassing us because they know what we did? Or is this person harassing us because we're like, we did something to them that's unrelated?
Yeah,
So it'd
I
probably be like a
love that.
psychological thriller where they're like, okay, like we're kind of like mean little bitches. And
Yeah,
I don't know if like when we did something bad that we were trying to cover up, if this person like knows about it or if they're harassing us and threatening us because of something we did to them.
that sounds really fun. So I didn't like think too far into like characters, but what came to my mind was like a story where like someone got revenge or did something, and at the beginning of it you don't understand how you could like that person, and then by the end you do because the end justifies the means,
Oh
was
my
what came to
God.
mind for me. So it's cool with like very different interpretations, but I love both of them.
Oh my God, that's so fun. Can we do
Yeah,
this every week?
we probably should.
Oh
Because
my
people
God.
could also send them in. That would be the other funny thing.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I thought long and hard. Like I like
I've been thinking so long, and then I was like, I've got to stop psyching myself out.
there's like four or five that I'm like, oh my God, no. Um so mine, and I will tell you why I picked this title after you tell me your synopsis, is
Okay.
mine is Lying with Strangers.
Ooh, I love that. That is such a you title. Okay. So lying with strangers to me, I see like a fancy, like really high end what are lawyers firms called? Law firm.
Yeah.
Like really high end law firm. And like I'm trying to think of what the main character is doing. The main character like finally just started working there. So she's new to it all. And she can tell that like everyone there per use has like all of their own established relationships and that there are definitely like some secrets. And I feel like then it's like the culture of like being really good at manipulating things is like really prevalent in law firms. So
Hmm.
I'm imagining like really hyper competitive whatever where they like enjoy proving to each other that like they can manipulate themselves into thinking certain things, and
Ooh,
then someone dies at the firm and she's
murder.
trying to keep up. Definitely a man dies. um so then
As they
she
should.
has to keep up lying with these new strangers that she
Ooh,
is working with to figure out the truth.
I love it.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God,
love
that's
legal
so
thrillers
good.
too, and I haven't read one in a while.
Have you read? Okay, I have one for you.
That's exciting.
I have one for you. It's one of my favorite books. Um, okay, it's by Debbie Babbitt,
Oh, nice.
and the name of it is First Victim.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite books. I read it a couple years ago and I loved it because like legal thrillers for me,
Yes, you told me this.
so
I
good.
need to read it.
It's so good. You will fucking love it.
I'm gonna bump
Um,
this one up.
but I always think of like I saw this thing on like Twitter or something about like people who like have a tendency to lie when they're on vacation. Have you ever
Ooh.
heard of any of these things? Like,
Yeah, it's like trying things on because no one knows you.
right, like it doesn't matter what you like when you go on vacation or something, like you lie to
Mm-hmm.
people when you travel because like you're not going to get caught, right? Like that you're never going to see
Yes.
that person again.
Yeah.
So when I thought of like lying with strangers, I thought of like kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a Basic Instinct kind of like sexy
Mm.
thriller.
Yes.
Um, about somebody who like lied to a stranger that they like had a one night stand with and like didn't think it would be a big
Ooh,
deal until that lie comes back to bite them in the ass when there's like a crime committed.
nice.
Because you could be like lying with strangers like you're telling a lie, or you could be like lying with
Yes.
strangers like you're lying in a bed with strangers.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I thought of the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Me, I'm
I got the
psychic.
lying in bed with them too is in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love when like a title has like a double meaning
Mm-hmm.
and like you were just kind of like, oh, like I thought it meant this, but it actually means
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I had to turn
I
my
love
mic
that
down a little
title.
bit because I felt like I was really loud.
Oh, it isn't to me. But I
Okay.
don't I'm listening through speakers.
But yeah, oh my God, that was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll have to do those again. Those are
Hmm.
fun. There's actually a podcast I listen to. I wonder if this influenced it as well. And they are they're much more theater kid than you and I are, but they do like improv, like they're both improv and comedy is like their career as well. But on their podcast, they like always do these like improvs that they call hallmarks, and they like just make try to make up a Hollywood movie or Hallmark style movie
Oh my
just like
God.
with improv by like figuring out who the love interests are. And so I wonder if that kind of came into my mind too, because I'm like, they just have fun with it. And it's kind of the same thing.
We should do an episode where we make up like a book together. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be fun.
you know how Liz and Greg like do like the whole like chapter thing?
Yes.
That would be so much fun.
That would be really cool.
That would
Okay.
be
We
like
need to
fun
do
for
that.
like like before Christmas time. Like this is our
Yeah.
present to you.
Here you guys go. We wrote a podcast book.
Here's like they're like, here's the fucking book that we're never gonna get to read
That would
until they
be
write.
fun
It
because we
would be
really could
fun.
approach it kind of like one or two sentences the way they approached like chapters.
Yeah. Oh my God, let's do it.
Yeah, I think we
Oh my
need to.
God. Yeah.
That
Wouldn't
would
that
be
be
so fun.
crazy? Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
crazy if that's how we got our big break is like by
that would
like
be even cooler.
bouncing off stories and people being like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next like
Yes.
podcast thriller. Cause like
Oh my
nobody does
gosh.
that.
Yeah,
Improv
maybe us.
podcast thriller.
I know.
Oh my God, we
It
might be
does
onto something.
mash a lot up together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
hmm Speaking of
We'll
things to
have
look
to.
forward to in the winter.
That's what I was gonna say. Well, while we're doing that
Well,
in
while we're looking
December,
forward to that.
yeah,
I
we
love
were
your
gonna
idea.
talk about books that we are excited for in November and December. I
Yeah.
apologize for my vocal fry for anyone who hates vocal fry. I'm not trying to sound like a Kardashian. It's just
I
my
don't notice
allergies.
that.
Okay, that's good. I can like feel it vibrating in my throat. And I'm
I just
like,
think you always like you and Ashley Winstead have like
uh-huh.
very like soothing voices. Like when I
Oh,
listen to you
thanks.
talk, like I just am like it's like I taken in like a little dream world.
I love that. Because
So,
I
but
feel like
yeah,
I have a kind of masculine voice, but maybe it's still soothing.
I mean I am gay, so maybe that's
Oh my God, you're right. That was hilarious.
I'm like, talk to me all the time, lady.
Oh my gosh, that is too good.
Yeah. Like, huh, maybe that's why.
That could
Um,
be it.
but no, I love this idea of
Yeah.
like just things that we're anticipating because it's like so much
Mm-hmm.
fun to know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing about like upcoming books, like there are some times where like a book will not hit as hard as you wanted it to, but then there's like those hidden gems where you're like, oh, I'm gonna give this a shot. Like, I don't know if
Yes.
I'm gonna love it. And then like
Uh-huh.
you read it and you're just like, that was like the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are the fun ones each year. We're gonna have to do an episode on that too. Our like hidden gems of 2023.
Oh yeah.
At least we have all the ideas for the rest of the
Of the
calendar
year.
year.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be so much fun to do the hidden gems.
Yes. Because I know we've talked about it on episodes before about how like it's fun to find like an indie author or just one that isn't like a major darling on Instagram or whatever. And so it is fun
hmm
to find them.
I am all about indie authors right now.
You are.
I am. It's like all I'm reading.
That's awesome.
But well, what's your first book that you're looking forward to this winter?
Well, I'm currently reading it. So I'm going to start off with Last Night at the Hollywood Canteen. It's by Sarah James. And it takes place in 1943 Hollywood. And murder mystery playwright Annie Lawrence, who's looking for a break in her career, starts networking at the Hollywood Canteen, a club exclusively staffed by showbiz personalities for servicemen. However, the glitz and glamour turn dark when despised film critic Fiona Ferris is found dead in the canteen kitchen, prompting Annie to join forces with Fiona's discontented friends, known as the Ambassadors Club, to uncover the killer among the club's enigmatic volunteers. And I will say right now, it made me nervous that it's historical fiction because that's
Yeah.
what we get nervous about. Um, but I did start it. It just came out 2 days ago. And the characters don't feel old timey. And I feel like for me, that's what then makes it just as enjoyable. Like they're also very snarky, which of course I'm always gonna end up reading that. But like you
Yeah.
still manage to be in like 1943 Hollywood without like reading it in like an old timey voice in your head is what I'm trying to say. And it
On
really does
Wilshire
turn
Boulevard.
into yes. Like everything's like, and then I'm like, okay.
Milady.
um, but the characters are really, really fun. I'm really, really enjoying them. And it kind of has Knives Out vibes. That's kind of what it's
Oh,
like. It's like
cool.
something kind of goes crazy, and now there's like 5 people that are kind of like, I mean, it probably had to be one of us five, right? And so they're all like suspicious
Yeah.
of each other. And like the way the like murder mystery playwright main character is kind of solving it, it reminds me of Knives Out. So I'm excited to see if it kind of ends that way too.
That is cool. And I think it's like a really interesting concept to have somebody who's like a murder mystery writer,
Yeah.
because they're like, okay, it's like kind of my job to like if I were writing this, how would I like, who
Yes.
would it be, kind of thing. So that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that it's not like super historical.
It doesn't like I found myself not very aware of it, which was how I felt when I read Evelyn Hugo. And I think it is just like
Yeah.
sometimes when the fear, sometimes the characters still just feel complex enough. And then the other thing that I just am so picky about, like sometimes I wish I wasn't, is pacing. So like the pacing keeps things going.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes historical fiction feels like the pacing doesn't keep going. So
Slower. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you
doesn't feel
there.
that way with this one.
Um, no, it sounds really good. And I'm glad you're
Yeah.
enjoying it. And I'm glad that like it was one of those things where you're like, I'll give it a shot and it's
Yeah.
working out for you.
You could say it might be one of my hidden gems.
Oh my God, maybe it will be.
I
Cheerio.
know. I don't know why I said it that way.
We're totally in character. Now
Yes.
we're building our historical murder mystery tonight as we speak.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going in like order of like pup date, or just like,
No,
okay,
I don't
good,
think
good.
so.
Um, I want to talk about this one because she's an indie author. It's her first romance.
Woo.
It sounds very ominous, but like I love like, here's the thing about like the romances that I've been reading is like
Mm-hmm.
some of them are very like they hit you really hard in the chest. Like there's like things that like happen to the characters that like bring them on a journey, and then other times they're just like fun and light and smutty.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear a weird growling, it's my dog, because now he's like, I'm awake and I'm ready
it's
to
not. It's not your
terrorize you.
boyfriend
It's not my boyfriend.
growling at you from the corner.
Here. Um, so my first one I think comes out in the end of December. And it's called Don't Look Down by Jessica Ann.
Nice.
And it's about Landon and Skylar. Landon's one of the first openly bisexual players in the NHL, and he has dealt with men and women alike romantically. And he meets Skylar in a random video game chat. They have an instant connection and like kind of like fall for each other. And they're both kind of like, oh, this is kismet. Like I never would have thought that this video chat game would have like found me my soulmate, blah 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 blah. But then it says that tragedy leaves Skylar broken, and he wants to know if Landon can remind him how to spread his wings again and soar. And Landon is saying that life slams Skylar into the boards and shatters the man that he loves. He has to face his greatest fear of all and drag him out of the depths of despair. So I love when there's like, I don't love tragedy, but like
You
I
kind
love
of do.
I love when like I love when it says that there's some sort of tragedy or there's something
Yeah.
that happens that's gonna like that's gonna like take the entire story and like
Right.
flip it all around.
Yeah.
But I love that like you don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
sometimes you read a
Yeah.
synopsis and it's like when, so and so's like family passes away, or
Mhm.
like they
Car
get into a car
crash.
accident. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Dark and twisty. But I
Yes.
love that like you don't know what it is. So you're like kind of going
Yeah.
into it blind, but like you're gonna
Yeah.
have that like anxiety of being like, oh my God, like I know something's
Right.
happening or like gonna
Right.
happen.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like it's very sweet. And at the end, a couple of the things that you were saying I thought were about to be sexual, like in the synopsis, like slams the boards against or something. And then it just kept turning out to be really sweet stuff. And I was like, okay, it's a sweet book.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll see if I'm sure there's gonna be steam in it, but I kind
Oh
of like the
yeah.
synopsis because it like it's very popular in romances to
Mm-hmm.
have like dual perspective. So even
Yeah.
when they write out the plot, it's like you're reading the
Mm.
synopsis from like each character's perspective.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I like the one that's like the NHL character being like, when life slams the man that I love into the boards, like a hockey
Yeah.
reference. So,
Yes.
but yeah. And it says it's going to be the
Oh, see,
first
that's
in
good
a
to know. I
series
didn't
of
know that was
three.
a hockey reference.
Oh, yeah. Like if you're
Glad you.
like playing hockey and then like
Yep.
one player like slams the other one into like the boards to like get the puck from him,
Uh-huh. That makes sense. I'm
it's
with
like
you
kind
now.
of like, oh, you don't want to be that hockey player that gets like smashed up against the
Yeah.
plexiglass, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's pretty violent.
Hmm.
A violent full contact sport.
I love a hockey player.
You're like, I know all the hockey things now.
This podcast took a turn.
Oh man. Well, that sounds really good and
Yeah,
exciting.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
think there's going to be a cover reveal soon too. So,
Ooh, those are always fun. I
mhm.
love seeing covers, even of books I don't always read. There's a little Murphy. He's just peeking in. He's like, "Hey guys, I read
Hey,
books with Dad." Oh, that is so
he always
cute.
like hangs over there and he's like, "Hey, pay
Oh my
attention to
gosh.
me."
If any of you are listening, you should technically go watch Murphy on YouTube because that was pretty
He's just
cute.
gonna, yeah,
He's just gonna hang.
I'll just
He
let him
wants to
hang
hear my
there.
book recommendations.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Well, I
like,
have
well, he
an
has
indie
this game
author.
now that it's snowing.
Oh
He
yeah.
wants to go outside and play in the snow every half hour. So I took him outside to go pee before we recorded
Yeah.
so he wouldn't have an accident. But now he's like, well, it's kind of dark and scary outside and I want to play in the snow, but I'm just not going to get my way.
Yeah, not right now. He's just gonna stare at the door.
Yeah, he's just going to stare at the
Hopefully.
just stare at the wall and just pray that somebody
Yeah.
takes him outside to play in the snow.
Eventually, Murphy.
Eventually,
We'll get to you.
we'll get to you, Murph.
Well, I have an indie author as well that has a book release. Is it in November or December? It's December. December 5th. Called If You See Me by Audra McEllier. And it is about when Leighton Marks is abducted at a festival, her husband Owen and ex-best friend Marnie question the official explanation of random human trafficking. Marnie, with the help of Sarah, discovers discrepancies in Leighton's disappearance, leading her to a complex web of secrets. Faced with threats from conflicting parties, Marnie must decide whether to risk everything to unveil the truth about Leighton or if it might be safer for everyone if the twisted reality remains hidden. And it is like, I have read this one and it is so fun and it's super twisty, like so many twists at the end of it. And Audra just like writes the like just the most kind of like immersive psychological thrillers. Like I'm always so in the heads of her characters and they're so fun.
I'm so excited. I ordered her first book.
Yes.
Um, I
One
ordered her
little
first
word.
book, yes, based on your recommendation.
So good.
Um, and she is another indie author, so
Yep.
we love that.
Yes.
She's so nice. She actually told me how much she loves our podcast and offered
Yeah.
to send me a copy of her book.
Yeah.
Um, which I politely declined because I am all about like
Mm-hmm.
supporting indie authors. So like if you're an indie author and you offer me a copy of your book, I'm gonna say no, but it's because I'm ordering it to support
Yes.
you.
Right.
So I'm very excited for that one and I can't wait to order my copy.
It's so good.
Um I'm also really excited slash nervous about a book that deals with like human trafficking because that's one of my
Yeah.
biggest fears.
Oh yeah.
Um especially like especially being as close as I am to the Canadian border, that's something that happens here very often
Mm-hmm.
is people disappear and they question if it's, because we're so close to the Canadian border, if they were trafficked into Canada and
Right.
stuff. So, and I go get my groceries in Canada and my takeout
Mm-hmm.
pizza because I'm a little bougie shit,
You're
but
foodie.
I am. Oh my God, I turned into such a foodie.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, that sounds so good. And I can't wait to read that one.
I know. You're gonna love it.
I know, I know. I have full faith and I'm gonna love it. This so
He's just still
distracting.
listening.
He's so
He's
distracting, but
like,
he's so
I'm
freaking
gonna
cute.
love it.
He's like, I can't wait, Dad. I can't wait. He's like, talk about a talk about a thriller next. You've been reading a lot of
Yes.
romance. So my next one is called After Dark by Minka Kent, who is
Mm,
also an indie author. Um,
yes.
yeah. Um, and I'm really excited. I think she's like very binge worthy. I've loved all of her stories that
Hmm.
I've read. Um, I hope I say this name right.
Oh, I hope so.
Afton, Afton, I
I would
believe.
think so.
Afton Teach Out has been an outcast in her small town for 20 years. Murphy, stop it. Afton Teach Out has been an outcast in her small town for 20 years, ever since she was accused of murdering her mother's lover in a blackout fit of rage. Um, that is, if one believes the malicious lies. So, living with her grandmother, working in a hotel night shift, and relying on pills to get a day's sleep, Afton is due a little luck. And it comes in the form of an unexpected financial windfall. Um, Afton sets out a secret plan in motion to help her only friend flee a toxic husband. The best intentions soon spin out of control, and Afton is getting unsettling calls from a restricted number, and someone has been lingering outside her home. So, as her friend's troubled marriage comes into focus, so does Afton's past.
That
So, I'm
sounds
excited for
really
that.
good.
I love,
It
like,
has a lot of things going on.
yeah, I love like her having like a secret past and like being like, did she or did she not kill her mother's like lover? I love
Hmm.
like her secret starting to come out. I love like the whole like anonymous like person harassing her,
Right.
trying to help her friend flee an abusive husband. Like there's just like a lot of things that are like female driven thrillers
Yeah.
that I've read in the past that like seem like they're gonna be in this book.
Right.
He's
I
chasing
can't
his
hear him if
tail.
he's barking.
Okay. I didn't know if that's why I like stopped in the middle of like reading the synopsis to that one because I didn't know if you could hear him barking.
No, at the same time that that was happening, my Alexa thought we said that name and it started talking to me.
Okay.
So
Well,
we
he was
had both
like
of those things happening at the same time.
barking and I was like, Murphy, stop. But yeah, I love Mika Kent, so I think that'll be a
Me
really fun
too.
one. And I think I'm gonna be reading that one like very soon because it comes out on the 14th, I believe,
Oh, nice.
of
Yeah, that's
November.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a segue, but my next one is called The Vacation House by Jane Shemilt. Shemilt. Okay, so this one has like a longer description because it's in two timelines. And the first part says Paxos, Greece. The vacation house is a luxury getaway for a wealthy English family. Windows open to sun and the sea, a sparkling swimming pool, and a verdant garden. One hot summer night, while the parents and their friends drink wine and amuse themselves, a young woman, the teenage daughter of the Greek caretaker, ventures for a walk on their on their private beach. Her life will never be the same again. So then, London, England, 10 years later. Julia is the perfect spouse and mother, slender, blonde, expensively dressed. She's the classic yummy mummy of high cook, organizer, arm candy, and speechwriter to her influential husband. I know how to speak. But behind her winning smile is a stifled woman trapped in a gilded cage, stricken with anxiety and perfectionism. When Julia meets Laurel, a therapist who promises to help her find fulfillment, Julia opens herself up to the hope of a different future. What happened in Greece all those years ago that binds these two women together, and will uncovering the truth destroy everything or set them free? It says it's a crackling novel of psychological suspense. And I kind of like
Sounds so
when it's like
cool.
two things that you don't understand how they're related. It's always fun
Hmm.
watching them come together.
Yeah. And I love like a vacation-y like Greece or something. Like
Yeah.
there's something like a little isolating about being on vacation and so having something like that
Mm-hmm.
happen or not like in your typical element. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's chasing his tail and is just like getting so
It's
pissed off.
distracting.
Like I can just
Yeah.
hear his little like toenails clicking, like he's running somewhere, but he's just like in the
He's
same
not
spot
going
going,
anywhere.
he's not going anywhere. Um, but no, that sounds really good. I've read a book by her before. I'm not
Oh,
sure which one it
nice.
was. I think it's like the one about a daughter that
Daughter.
went missing. Yeah,
Daughter.
the daughter. Yep. Or daughter.
Nice.
Yeah, and I gave it a 5 star.
Oh, nice. That makes me more
So
excited.
I really like the way that she tells a story. I remember like loving that. I think that was one of the first ones I read when I joined Bookstagram.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah,
Or
she's been
right
writing for a
before,
little
maybe.
while.
Maybe right
Mm-hmm.
before. I don't know. But let's see. Speaking of an island,
Mm.
perhaps. Um, my next one is called The Engagement Party by Darby Kane. I
Mm. I
love
saw
I
that
love her
one.
stories. She's
I
so
saw that one a
good.
couple. Yeah. Or I
Yeah,
keep seeing it.
she's so good. And I just got my copy from the
Oh,
publisher.
nice.
So I'm really excited for that one. It comes out, I believe, December 5th.
Nice.
So sometime early December. But
That's my
it
list.
takes place on a private island in Maine. And it
Ooh.
says Emily Hunt went missing from her affluent liberal arts school on graduation weekend. Her body was found floating in a river, and a quiet loner who most people on campus really didn't know committed suicide. A tenuous link, one text, bound the two dead students together and was enough for law enforcement to close the case. But they got it wrong, and now someone's determined to get it right. 12 years later, college friends gathered to celebrate an engagement over a long overdue getaway on a swanky private island in Maine with only one way in and one way out. Sierra Prescott, invited as a guest and unconnected to past events, is the only person who soon senses not all is what it seems. The tension in the air is ignited when they find a dead man in the trunk of a car with a note saying it's time to tell the truth. Things get only worse as a torrential storm strands them together. Oh my God, so much. I love dual timeline.
Yes.
I love shitty cops. Like I love that like this.
Yeah.
Do you hear very high pitched squeaking?
Mm-mm.
Okay, thank God. Because now he's got his little purple elephant and he's like, I'm gonna get attention one way or another. Um, but I love when there's like shitty cops and somebody's like, okay, like I have to be the armchair detective that's gonna like do your job for you.
Yes.
So the fact that like this girl was found floating in the river and like this
Right.
other loner had committed suicide and they're like, oh, must be murder suicide. Like, let's just close the book on this. Um, but I also really love when there's like an interwoven friendship group and then you have the outcast that's coming in being like something's like a little fucked up about this friend group.
Yes. What is that Shakespeare quote? Or like something's off in Denmark or something. I should not be trusted for my Shakespeare quotes.
The only one I can think of is hell is empty, all the devils are here.
Mm, that's a good one.
And I will always remember that because of One Tree Hill.
Oh my gosh, yes. You're so
I
right.
always
Oh,
I love
I was right. It's a line from Hamlet.
oh my
Something
God,
is
look at you.
rotten in the state of Denmark is means an outsider saw that something was not right with this. So,
Maybe you're ready for if we were villains now. Now that you're quoting Hamlet.
oh no. Yeah, technically that
I
could
was
be
waiting for you
true.
to just hang up. That's
Yeah,
how
I'm
the
just
episode
done. I
ends.
just can't even. No, so also I have all of Darby Kane's books like on my want to read, and I have not read a single one of them, is what I just learned. So I have a lot of catching up to do. I don't
I'm
need if
awful with
we were villains.
I don't yeah, no, no. I'm awful with remembering titles today for some reason, but
Mhm.
stop it. Pretty Little Life is like one of
Uh-huh.
my like all-time favorites. It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's good to know.
Murphy, get off the kitchen table. Murphy.
That dude is hopping around.
He's just
Well, I have one about a friend group, not an outsider, but a friend
ooh.
group.
Listen.
Called There Should Have Been Eight by Nalini Singh. I'm hoping. Nalini. So I'm assuming Nalini. And it is about, as you could imagine, a group of 8 teenagers. They met when they were teenagers. Now they're adults, and time has been kind to some and unkind to others, none more so than to B, the one they lost 9 years ago. They've gathered to reminisce at B's family estate, a once glorious mansion straight out of a Gothic novel. Best friends, old flames, secret enemies, and new lovers are all under one roof. But when the weather turns and they're snowed in at the edge of eternity, that's dramatic, there's nowhere left to hide from their shared history. As the walls close in, the pretense of normality gives way to long buried grief, bitterness, and rage. Underneath it all, there's the nagging feeling that B's shocking death wasn't what it was claimed to be. And before the weekend is through, the truth will be unleashed, no matter the cost.
Sounds good. I love a
I know it sounds
snowstorm.
fun.
I'm gonna add that.
I just saw, who did I just see? Dennis just read it, I think.
Oh, did he?
I think he just posted about it, like literally yesterday, maybe. And he liked it.
He's
It's not,
always
yeah,
right.
I always like when like the past and the present are intertwined. And I'm not like, it's not like I'm obsessed with Locked Room,
I love the cover.
but I do enjoy it when it's like boiling the pressure up on people. So like the whole storm coming in, they're basically all stuck.
Yeah, it looks like she's written a lot and like fantasy too.
Whoa, that's interesting.
So
Oh,
that's
you're
very
right.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like a ton. I think it is so cool when people can do multiple genres.
Oh my God, I know. I know. She
So cool.
I want to check that out.
Yeah.
Um, that sounds really good.
Yeah. It
Speaking
comes
of
out November
fantasy,
21st. Ooh, I see what you did there.
I don't even know how that like that's like true kismet right there because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not like this is like the one that I was like, I'm not gonna have a segue for this book. Like, there's no way.
Right.
Um,
You found one.
my boy Max Walker, who writes so like amazing romantic thrillers, has his first male romantic fantasy coming out. It's called A Curse of Scales and Flame, and it comes out on the 10th of November, so
Ooh,
tomorrow.
soon.
Um, and it's about Damien Blackthorne. Apparently dragons are dying, and all over the world, a curse was taking them out one by one. Nobody knew how to stop it. So Damien watched his mother burn, watched his little brother fall sick, and he didn't want anyone else to die. So he was determined to figure out how to stop the dragon fall. And that's when he meets Robbie with his big brown eyes and charming smile. And Robbie is being hunted by vampires. So after saving him twice from a certain death, they soon come to realize that there's a reason that he is being hunted, and the reason may be the answer to solving all of the problems, but also a whole new set of problems.
Ooh.
Um, so we've got vampires and dragons and hot, fiery man-on-man action, and I am
I feel like
so
it's gonna be your
excited.
most adventurous book
It is. It is. Like I like
in the
listen,
way
this
that
sounds
fantasy is adventure. Yeah.
right, right. Well, when I was in, I will never forget this, but like when I was in, I think it was my freshman year of high
Mm-hmm.
school, um, we used to have that like I think it was like Fridays, like you would just read for the whole English period.
Mm-hmm.
And our English teacher is like one of my biggest influences as to why I became a reader
Oh, that's so
because
cool.
she was just amazing. She was my favorite teacher that I've ever had. But she would go around and just like kind of talk to people and be like, oh, like that looks
Mm-hmm.
really good or whatever. And I remember her coming over to my desk and I was reading Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. And she was like,
Did you say elementary school?
I was a freshman in high
Okay,
school.
freshman. Okay, why did I? Okay, go
But
on.
she was like, she's like, you're reading Anne Rice? And I was like, yeah, I'm like really into this. And like, I was like, I'm not usually big on like vampires and werewolves and all of that stuff, like in a book, like I'll watch it in a movie. But
Yeah,
she was like, this is like very advanced for you. Like, are you like you know what's going on and like it's not? And I was like, oh no, I totally get it. And I like told her what it was
yeah.
about. And she was just like, this is really impressive. And I can't wait to hear what you think of like the rest of them.
Oh,
But
I
yeah.
love that.
So other than that, like I've read Twilight,
Yeah,
but I haven't
right.
read anything like vampire-y, werewolf. I've never read fantasy. So I'm
Yeah,
really excited that this is my like first one.
I know.
Murphy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes when like it's fantasy plus something, then you like are like, oh well, I love this so much that I'll like enjoy reading a version of that in just like a new genre.
Yeah.
If I could
I'm
find oh,
I'm really
he just wants to
excited.
be a part of the podcast.
He just is like, I want to play, Dad. You've been working. Like I'm on
Yeah.
to you now. Like I know that you're fake working.
Yeah. He's
You're
like, this
doing
isn't
you're
real.
doing your you're doing your podcast and this is not you're not working.
Oh
So
my gosh. Well, for the sake of poor bored Murphy, I will just jump to my last one, The
yeah.
Other Mothers by Catherine Faulkner. Um,
That was
so
almost on my list.
that's so exciting
I actually have a
because
copy of it for you.
ooh,
I have an extra
okay, that's super
copy.
exciting because I'm probably gonna interview her like 10 days from now or like
Okay, I'll
2
send it
weeks from now.
out.
I
I'll
don't
send
know
it out
yet. They
tomorrow.
reached out. Oh, roof. Murphy wants to interview her too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited about okay. Oh
I'm gonna mute my mic while you
yeah.
talk about it until so he doesn't
So
interrupt.
Mr. Sir has his moment. I get it.
Yeah.
So I am super excited for this one because I really enjoyed her one from last year as well, Greenwich Park. I really just like I loved the way she wrote her characters and everything. So this one is called The Other Mothers and it is about Tash. And when a young nanny dies under mysterious circumstances near new mom Tash's home, she is certain that this could be the story to relaunch her journalism career. Meanwhile, she also needs to find a local playgroup for her son. Nearby is the gorgeous neighborhood filled with wealthy and friendly families, stunning houses, and lavish playdates. But when another young woman is found dead, it's clear there's much more to the community than meets the eye, and the more Tash investigates, the more she's led uncomfortably close to the mothers in her son's playgroup. Are these women really her friends, or is there another more dangerous reason why she has been accepted into their exclusive world? Who exactly is investigating who? Oh, why do I
Oh my
look
God,
like
it sounds good. You paused when you were reading the synopsis, and I thought
that?
that
I
was
clear.
why, and I
Nope.
was like, she's frozen, and that little thumbs up bubble came up.
I don't know what that
Um,
is.
I am right there with you. I loved her book that she wrote last year.
Yeah.
Um, and Murphy loved it too. Just kidding.
Murphy really loves it.
He was not born then.
He was not
Um,
alive.
but I really loved that one. And I will say,
Yeah.
like, out of everyone I've read that like
Mm-hmm.
have been compared to like the girl on the train and Paula Hawkins, like she's probably the
Yes.
closest one. Like Catherine Faulkner is
Yeah.
probably the closest one to like if you love Girl on a Train, if you love Paula Hawkins, then like this is
Mm-hmm.
your jam.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's a really good point. Yeah, I loved
So
that one. I like devoured it last year.
me
Grin-
too. And I
Greenwich
got a
Park.
cool tote.
You got to, oh, that's cool.
I got a cool tote from them and I get compliments on it when I go grocery
Oh
shopping.
my gosh, that is so cool. Because that was her
Um
debut, right? I think it was.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm really excited for this one. But I'll send out
Yeah.
the arc to you tomorrow
Nice.
because I kept meaning to like I kept meaning to like mention to you that I had it.
Mhm.
Ouch. And I kept meaning to mention to you that I had it, but we always go off on tangents when we
Oh
talk.
yeah.
Like we don't talk about the
Mhm.
same thing for very long. So like I was like, oh, like I have to keep remembering to tell her this. And then when you said it, I
Yeah,
was like, um,
that's awesome.
so
Look,
yeah.
another coincidence.
hmm So I will send that out to you tomorrow so you have it for your
Thank
review.
you.
Um, so my last one is a male romance. I did a very even split this time.
You're like, I
Um,
tried.
and it's called Risk the Fall.
Mhm.
And it's about, I don't know if it's Riven or Riven, but
Okay.
I'm gonna say Riven.
Yeah.
Um, Riven says that he's never been great at letting people in, and life is easier if he just buries his feelings. People tend to let him down, which is only proven when his best friend Rex accidentally kills a man and Riven takes the fall for it. So when he gets out of prison, the last thing he wants to do is go back to Clayton, Oregon, where his grandma lives. But grandma's the only one that's had his back. So there he goes. So his plan is to like kind of go back and live like a quiet lifestyle, like not get into trouble, whatever. Um, and leave town for good. But then he meets Parrish, who wants nothing to do with his family and their illegal activities. And when Riven
Mm.
returns, he thinks that their things are going to get worse. Um, so Parrish is Rex's brother. So the guy who killed the man.
Okay.
So he kind of finds out what his brother did, and like Riven went to prison for something that Rex did.
Hmm.
Um, and then they end up like seeing each other a little differently. So
Hmm.
I think there's going to be a little romance between
Yeah.
Riven and his ex best friend's brother. Um, but it says that it is an ex best friend's brother romance that contains violence, drug use, crime, and the death of a non main character. So I kind of like that this is like a darker storyline without being like a
Hmm.
thriller.
Yeah.
Um, and it just seems like it's going to be very character driven and like
Yes.
super dark.
Yeah.
Um,
I kind of
and I
always
just
like
ordered it.
when people are like, or relationships where one person's like on the wrong side of the law, but
Yeah,
you just can't help yourself. That was in one of the like noirs I read recently this year, and it was like, oh, we love each other so much and have known each other since we were kids, but his parents are part of the mob.
yeah. I also kind of like the whole like I went to prison for something that like my
Yeah,
best
that
friend
too.
did, and like coming out and being like that's like something I really like in movies. Like there's I
Mm,
know that we're like anti Justin Timberlake right now, but he had a movie come out called Palmer,
yeah.
which is like where he gets out of prison and tries to lead like a little like low-key lifestyle, and
Hmm.
it was so good and it was so sweet, and I just like
I
absolutely
haven't
love that
watched it. I
movie.
see it on Apple TV every now and then.
It's so good. It's so good.
Hmm.
I highly recommend it to
I mean, he's
everyone. Like,
acting, so hopefully, even if Justin Timberlake makes you mad right now, he's being a
yeah,
different character.
yeah. So even if you like don't like him, it also does deal with like identity in like the
Mm,
LGBT community.
mm, yeah.
Um, because there's like a little boy in the movie who like loves to
Uh,
wear dresses and is like, I don't understand why people say I can't be a princess for Halloween.
yep.
So it's really good and it's really cute. Murphy loved it.
Aw. Did
Two
you really
paws
love
up.
it, buddy?
Two paws up.
That's like the highest rating ever.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, it was so good. I can't get enough.
He's just
So,
flying around.
oh my god, he's just.
Well, I
So
think Murphy is here to tell us that those are our picks, and
mhm.
that's all.
That's all she wrote. Murphy says go pre-order your copies now and play in the snow.
Yes.